All right, let's jump right in. Think about our future cities for a second. The skylines, our homes. Now, what if the next great leap in how we built wasn't about going taller or shinier, but about building something that's actually alive?
And no, this isn't just a pipe dream. This quote really captures a vision for a totally new kind of architecture, one that decides to work with nature instead of fighting against it. We're talking about buildings that are less like concrete boxes and more like dynamic, living systems.
So the big question is this all just some cool idea from a sci-fi movie? Or are we really on the verge of a revolution in how we build pretty much everything? Well, let's dig into the tech that could make this our new reality.
Okay, so let's get right to the heart of it. And as you might guess from the title, this concept has some deep roots in German innovation. See, at the core of this living building is a game-changing material that completely flips the script on construction's carbon footprint.
Instead of spitting out carbon when it's made, this stuff actually sucks it in. We're talking a negative carbon footprint, locking away over 500 kilograms of CO2 for every single cubic meter you use. It's not just a building. Your house would literally be a carbon sink.
Now this is where it gets really mind-blowing. Let's put this into perspective. Traditional cement is a massive climate problem. It's responsible for about 8% of all global CO2 emissions. That's huge. But this new material, known as hemp concrete or Hanfbeton, it turns buildings from being part of the problem into a key part of the solution.
Okay, so sucking up carbon is amazing, right? But that's just scratching the surface. This material has properties that, honestly, sound like they're straight out of a movie. It's not just a passive block. It's an active, almost intelligent structure.
And this right here, this is probably its most incredible feature. It can heal itself. When tiny little cracks form, the kind that lead to big problems later, natural biological processes just kick in and seal the damage within a few days. And what does that mean in the real world? It means potentially slashing maintenance costs by up to 40% over the building's life.
But don't think for a second that living means it's delicate. No way. This hemp concrete is an absolute beast. It's strong enough for multi-story buildings, but it's so much lighter that it needs 30 to 50% less material than regular concrete. It can even flex and adapt to things like wind and earthquakes. And the best part? Construction is shockingly fast.
So we've got this incredible, self-healing, carbon-eating structure. What happens when you pair that with some cutting-edge energy systems? Well, you get the next logical step, a home that's almost completely off the grid.
We're looking at a building that can hit 80 to 95% energy autarky. That's just a fancy way of saying it's self-sufficient. It generates and stores almost all of its own power for electricity and for heat, only needing the grid for a tiny little bit of backup.
So, how in the world does it pull that off? Well, it's not one single magic trick. It's a really smart, integrated system. You've got solar panels on the roof that grab sun from both sides. You have transparent panels on the windows that generate electricity from invisible UV light. They even work on cloudy days. Then there's a huge sand battery to store summer heat for the winter and efficient LFP batteries for all your day-to-day electricity needs.
And all that cool tech, it's not just for show. It translates into real, hard cash in your pocket. For a family living here, it means saving thousands of euros on energy bills every single year.
Okay, at this point, you're probably thinking the same thing I was. All this futuristic tech sounds amazing, but it must cost a fortune, right? So let's get down to brass tacks. Do the numbers actually add up? And the answer might surprise you. Yeah, the upfront cost is a little higher, about 10 to 20% more than a standard build. But here's the kicker. It pays for itself incredibly fast. We're talking just 7 to 12 years. I mean, a lot of people take longer than that to pay off their car. And if you're looking at this from an investor's point of view, the numbers are just stellar. An internal rate of return over 22%, that is pretty much unheard of in traditional real estate, where you're lucky to get maybe 5 or 10%. This analysis just shows how solid of an investment this is. Even in a worst-case scenario, higher costs, lower energy savings, it still pays for itself in just 8 years. And in the best-case scenario, it drops below 5. It's a financial winner pretty much any way you slice it. So, we've gone deep on the material, the energy, and the money. Now let's do something fun. Let's zoom all the way out. What happens when we stop thinking about just one house and start imagining an entire city built with this philosophy?
What you get is a city that is a complete game changer. You'd have buildings that are massive carbon sinks, not sources. Structures that are actively cleaning the air around them. entire neighborhoods that are their own self-sufficient energy islands. And at the end of a building's very long life, it can simply be returned to the Earth, completing a truly circular loop.
And maybe the most exciting part of this whole story is that this is not some far-off 50 years from now dream. It's real. The material is developed. The technology is tested. Pilot projects are ready to begin today. All the building blocks are here.
And that brings us right back to where we started, but with a totally new perspective. The question isn't, can we do this anymore? We know we can. The technology is real. The only question left for us to answer is, are we ready to use it and fundamentally reinvent our cities for the better?